So this video is going to be more of a rant for open conversation instead of a more structured piece, mainly because I'm working on a few other videos I want to have out this month with E3 on the horizon, but also because I don't think it's a topic that really warrants a video in an unnecessarily long format. I want to touch on what was revealed in last week's Sonic Central and some of the reactions I had taken away from that event. Now, I waited a week on this just to clear myself from any bias I had from a reactionary aspect, but it's still something that puzzles me about it. So as you know by now, the main announcements of the Sonic Central were the teaser to what I assume is the next mainline title in the series via Sonic Team. The other is a deluxe style port of Sonic Colors from 2010. Just to touch briefly on the teaser, it wasn't even enough shown for me to even process like any excitement. But regardless, after the drought in mainline content since Forces, I'm really anticipating anything new. Sonic Origins was also revealed, and it flat out answered my concerns that I had in my video back in March on if Sonic 3 and Knuckles would be stuck in some weird licensing void for the foreseeable future. Fortunately, that will not be the case, as the titles will be included in this collection of Genesis era Sonic titles coming next year. But I don't know why I paused there. But my main focus coming away from this was Sonic Colors Ultimate. I don't have a problem with Sonic Colors. It was just an installment in the series that Sonic Team and Sega took very seriously to turn around a franchise after nearly a decade-long stretch of questionable flagship titles. I never got to play Colors, despite only having a Wii as my lone console in my home until around 2012. For some reason, I opted for the Wii version of Unleashed, and yeah. Anyways, now that the game is returning, this is the perfect opportunity for me to finally experience Colors in its most optimized form. That being said, other than the fact that it was pretty much leaked a bit prior, I was really not expecting Colors of all games to be the anniversary remake. I mean, I think it's a smart decision, as the original game was a Nintendo exclusive, and now with Ultimate releasing cross-platform, PlayStation and Xbox users can finally play the game 11 years later, ultimately introducing a game to two platforms with audiences that could never play Colors before. And in my eyes, that's better than rehashing a title for the 5th time on the same console for a quick buck. Yet, with the build up to June with Sonic's 30th in mind, a lot of fans of the series, including myself, had some other expectations. And while I'm not going to get as annoying and dig into complaining like a lot of others did, I'm kinda using this reveal of this Colors port to address a nagging question I had towards the biggest franchises in the industry. I understand that it is aggravating to some to see fans ask for the same classic games to be remade every year a big announcement is coming. Trust me, I've been on both sides of that debate. However, when it is in context to anniversary years, like in this case Sonic's 30th, or on an even more attentive level, the 20th anniversary of Sonic Adventure 2, I think it is pretty fair to want to see a remake during these times. It's something I briefly touched upon in my latest video on the Dreamcast, but the video game industry heavily weaponized nostalgia to make an easy profit and draw large markets. The games from consumers' childhoods are going to hold more weight to them than the latest installment that dropped when they were far removed from that point in their lives where they were most involved in gaming. I look to how the Crash Bandicoot series and the Spyro series both had those fantastic remakes that marked their return to the spotlight, and it was refreshing to see these iconic titles resurfaced on the latest technology. Looking back, the trilogies of both Crash and Spyro come from a period in gaming where the industry was dead in the middle of the transition to 3D. The visuals of the games were sharp and jarring and have arguably aged the worst compared to any other period in retrospect. And this isn't a criticism of 64-bit games, it was just the natural progression of the technology. Those 64-bit consoles still gave us some of the greatest pieces of art in the medium. But now, 3D I'm leaving this in because this is not a serious video. But now, 3D graphics have been polished exponentially, and coupled with the fact that industry abuses the marketing tool of nostalgia, oh boy. But now, 3D graphics have been polished exponentially, and coupled with the fact that the industry abuses the marketing tool of nostalgia, I really cannot understand why more companies aren't pushing for grails from the 5th and 6th generations to be remade for the current generation of consoles. It is easy money. And that brings me back to Sonic, and on a wider note, Mario. Last September, Nintendo commemorated the 35th anniversary of the biggest character in gaming with the release of Super Mario 3D All-Stars, a compilation of Super Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy. While what upset most people was the weird restrictions that Nintendo put on the game in terms of its availability, as it is no longer available to purchase anywhere except the resale market, what bugged me the most was the fact that the games were just lazily ported using specially built emulators. Sure, they were HD and upscaled to some degree, but it still looked the same in terms of textures and such. It likely would have been received so much more favorably if Mario's 35th came with a full-fledged remake of just Super Mario 64 for the Switch. 64 is one of the most impactful 3D platformers in history, and I promise you, the remake on the DS that came out the same year I was born does not justify not remaking it again. Just imagine how amazing a retelling of the world of Mario 64, using the same technology and graphical effort that was put into Odyssey. Not only would it be likely to sell just as well as 3D All-Stars, but it would be sure to be a much better put together product. Now again, tying that back to Sonic, take that same example and attach it to 64's parallel in Sonic Adventure. Sonic Adventure is another game regarded as a classic and loved by many that has not aged well. As I talked about further in my speculation video around the time the fake leaks had surfaced, many fans were anticipating a remake of Adventure. I thought it was a reach, but in that same vein, it's something that I wanted to see really badly. Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 are games that are notorious for being buggy and broken and not polished whatsoever. Yet it is still held to high regards because of the plot, story structure, and the levels are memorable and interesting. Imagine those games in an engine that made Forces or even Generations. I understand that developers should rather put their talents and efforts towards new games, but with the way the market is, I truly don't get why companies haven't thought how simple it would be just to rebuild beloved classics that age like dirt and put them out as anniversary content. I mean, even if the moral problem was force-feeding the consumers the same story over and over, there are still great examples of remakes that build upon the game it's formed around, like the Final Fantasy VII remakes that came out just earlier. Anyways, I say all that to say remakes are good in instances like anniversary content, and I kinda wish to see it more from larger properties. I'm glad Sonic Colors is coming back, I'm glad Sonic 3 and Knuckles is coming back, and I'm glad there's a new mainline game on the way. I just wanted to get this off my chest and see if I can stir up some content and discussion out of it. That being said, if you made it to this tangent, shout out to you. The next video will be more normal depending on what comes of E3. And also, I want to ask you guys, what remake would you want to see for any series anniversary? I'm talking full remake from the ground up on a next gen console. Let me know down below, leave a like and subscribe if you're new. And as always, take care of yourselves and I will see you soon. Peace. Oh, real quick, and shout out to Sega for only making the Colors port $40. That really surprised me, because Nintendo would never. They'll give you the game that came out 15 years ago, upscale it, $60. So shout out to Sega, but yeah, I'm getting out of here. Peace.